Good morning. How about a little first fruits for the Lord this morning? Whatever we do when we first wake up in the morning, that's our first fruits. And the Lord lets us know through many stories that those first fruits should belong to Him. We should spend time with the Scriptures, who Jesus Christ said one time, He is the Word. With that being said, let's dig in. 14. A wise woman builds her house, while a foolish woman tears hers down by her own efforts. This doesn't have to be a particular woman. This can be mankind, and I see mankind doing this all the time, as well as myself. To do right honors God. To sin is to despise Him. We don't know this most of our young lives. We don't see this as going against God, but true it is. A rebel's foolish talk should prick his own pride, but the wise man's speech is respected. People listen more to men of wisdom, men who seek this Word of God. People tend to listen because they know that wisdom is there. An empty stable stays clean, but there is no income from an empty stable. A truthful witness never lies. A false witness always lies. How many times have we seen people that sometimes will tell a lie when the truth will serve better? Just can't help themselves. It's like a lie that seems to make things more interesting or believable. A mocker never finds the wisdom he claims he is looking for, yet he comes easily to the man with common sense. Common sense is not so common anymore. We tend to shy away from common sense in this age, don't we? When I think about all the things that are going on in this modern time, my God, common sense doesn't have many friends in this part of time. If you are looking for advice, stay away from fools. That's good advice always. A wise man looks ahead. The fool attempts to fool himself and won't face facts. By the way, this version is the Living Bible paraphrase, which is probably different than most books that you read, but it breaks these words down into something that we can coherently understand in the way we talk today. So a fool is, we like to keep our head in the sand, is what this is saying. And Lord knows that we do that all the time about the certainty of death and the condition that the world is in. We like to keep our heads in the sand, and our heads are focused on our task at hand, making our bills and whatnot. We like to kind of fool ourselves. We don't like to face the facts. And the facts is we need this Word of God to help us become happy and whole and complete. The common bond of rebels is their guilt. The common bond of godly people is goodwill. How true is that? Only the person involved can know his own bitterness or joy. No one else can really share it. And very true. The work of the wicked will perish. The work of the godly will flourish. Before every man there lies a wide and pleasant road that seems right, but ends in death. Every man starts in the carnal. When you're born in this world, you're not really given spiritual teachings anymore, which is sad, but you're really giving carnal teachings. And we're taught to put a lot of our trust and faith in the carnal world, and the carnal road is death. So we have to come to the spiritual from the carnal. Laughter cannot mask a heavy heart. When the laughter ends, the grief remains. The backslider gets bored, bored with himself. The godly man's life is exciting. This is what I'm talking about growing out of the carnal. You become bored, you become despondent, you become disillusioned in the carnal after enough time. And you start looking at that spirit, and this is when you come to life. I feel this is when God breathed the breath of life in mankind, is when we start growing our souls, when our soul becomes that second birth Jesus was trying to tell us about. When man becomes born again, I think that is that breath of life that Genesis spoke of. Only a simpleton believes what he is told. A prudent man checks to see where he is going. Hopefully, we're going to the Spirit, a spiritual life, and not just going to die with the flesh that we're born with, but we're going to be born into the Spirit. A wise man is cautious and avoids danger. A fool plunders ahead with great confidence. Sad but true, and this is mostly in our youth. When we're full of pea and vinegar, we tend to plunge ahead without thinking. But hey, then lies the lessons in life, which gives us the great need to seek God as our mistakes. A short-tempered man is a fool. He hates a man who is patient. A short-tempered man will keep him in trouble most of his life with argumentation and fights and all kinds of unagreeable things in life. We should really practice patience as Christ taught us. The simpleton is crowned with folly. This wise man is crowned with knowledge. Evil men shall bow before the godly. Even his own neighbors despise the poor man, while the rich have many friends. This, of course, is friends in the carnal. The rich people tend to be out of tune with with goodnesses of God, because they're so busy serving the rich and the problems of the rich, the responsibilities that come with being rich. It's hard to focus on both God and money at the same time, and often there's a bridge or a wall between them that keeps them apart. Not all rich people are like that, to say. There's many examples of rich guys in the Bible that were very spiritual and loving people. But as a general rule, the burdens and responsibilities of having a lot of riches take time away from God. To despise the poor is to sin. Blessed are those who pity them. And when I talk about the poor here, when this book says poor, my mind goes to the very evil or rich men or people that are predisposed, that didn't have time for God. This is what I call the poor, not just the guys out begging in the street, but the poor in spirit. Those who plot evil shall wander away and be lost, but those who plan good shall be granted mercy and quietness. Long-term rewards of the Spirit. Long-term rewards of the Spirit is always outweighs the short-term rewards of carnality, of things like riches and easy living and things like that. Work brings profit. Talk brings poverty. That's good common sense, your grandfather would say, and to my grandchildren who are looking at these videos and later in life. That sounds like something that Pop-Pop would tell you, doesn't it? We should work so we're not hungry. Work so we take care of our families and pay our light bills, pay our taxes. And we shouldn't spend all day on the porch talking about the things we want to do and obtain. We have to give it all a proper amount of time. We only spend so much time with our head in the clouds, but most of the time we have to spend working and in being good working souls for the Lord. Wise men are praised for their wisdom. Fools are despised for their folly. How true. A witness who tells the truth saves good men from being sentenced to death, but a false witness is a traitor. And the Lord loves a man who tells the truth all the time, even when it's painful and even when it hurts. A liar is our mouth is our fountain of life, and it can also be a fountain of bitter waters and death. What comes out of our mouth is directly related to our spirits and our hearts. So we should tell the truth all the time. Reverence for God gives a man deep strength. His children have place of refuge and security. A man that seeks God, that always seems to have his head in scriptures, always seems to be thinking about angles of what the Word of God could mean in his head during the day while he's working. And this is a man who has reverence for God. He cares what God thinks. He cares what God is trying to communicate. He cares what God is trying to tell us. And this man's children will always have a place of refuge and security. And nothing makes a child, especially grandchildren, feel more safe and more at peace and more comfortable, and then having a man who seeks God at the head of that household. It's a very important thing. If you don't have your things at this stage in life, grandchildren, nothing can give you that quicker than being a man who has reverence for God. It should matter to you what God's trying to tell you, shouldn't it? And this is the being that holds the key to our salvation and our longevity. We should care what he's trying to say to us. Reverence for the Lord is a fountain of life. Its waters keeps a man from death. And this goes right in line with what I was trying to say. Those are the waters that Jesus were telling that woman at that well, I can give you waters that you'll never thirst again. And that waters is these words. Every word you're looking at on this page of this Bible is a drop of water. A growing population is a king's glory. A dwindling nation is his doom. A wise man controls his temper. He knows that anger causes mistakes. How true. Every time we lose our temper and start running off at our mouth, we always bite off into more trouble. A relaxed attitude lengthens a man's life. Jealousy rots it away. Not only jealousy, but being angry all the time will rot your life away. Being ungrateful all the time or unthankful, all these things that rot away in our bones. This relaxed attitude is what this Word of God will give you. It relaxes you. It gives you a sight of what's important, so it helps us let go of the things that are unimportant. Anyone who oppresses the poor is insulting God, who made them. To help the poor is to honor God. My God, how true is that? There's nothing more truer or better can be said in this Word of God. As we look on the poor, as we look on our brothers who are struggling in strife, they could be a myriad of problems that people can have that makes them ungodly. But they are the poor, and God sees a great value in these people. He sees a great beauty, and He created these people, and they have a great value. So anytime we can help people that are dwindling life away without the Word of God, anytime we can help those people, say anything or an act of kindness, or maybe something as simple as a smile in a low spot in their life when they're troubled, or I don't know, maybe their water pipe might have broke outside their house, and you might ride by and you could see the guy scratching his head and don't have what he needs, and you might have the tool or the pipe fitting in your truck that might could fix that pipe. And when you share your time and your energy in helping that guy, and you let him know that the reason you do that is because you're a Christian. This is how we help the poor. The godly have a refuge when they die, but the wicked are crushed by their sins. How true. Wisdom is enshrined in the heart of men of common sense, but it must shout loudly before fools will hear it. How many people have you had in your life that you talk to that you've said the same things over and over, and they don't hear it because the truth is they don't want to hear it. They're not at that place. But I say keep saying it. Keep shouting out the truth of God, because someday the people, like I have a brother that I love dearly, but he's an atheist, and when I try to have conversations with him, no matter how much common sense I can lay or how many things I can say that a man with common sense would listen to, he doesn't hear it because he doesn't want to hear it just yet in time. But I pray for him daily, as we all should, for people in our lives that are in that predicament. And there's nothing so big, there's no mountain so big that God can't move and God can't heal. It's something we always have to keep in mind. So fools, people that don't believe in God, they don't like to hear things. But they hear it in the sense that they don't know it. Just like a lot of people start reading the Word of God, and they may not understand what they're reading, but if you read it, it's talking to a part of your brain that gets it, and in time it will bear fruit. Godliness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. It's the sin that tears down cities and societies. Godliness will exalt this same nation. It will build it up and make it a great place like the USA once used to be, this great country I live in. Now it's being torn down by ungodly people. They just can't tear it down fast enough. Even though the plate on their food comes from the good of the land and the nation and exalted by God, the food on their plate is what's coming from this nation that has been exalted by God. And as they strip it down, that food will disappear. And guess what? Then it's time to cry to God. It has a way of bringing people full cycle. Godliness exalts a nation, but the sinner reproach. The sin. I think I just read that. A king rejoices in servants who know what they are doing. He is angry with those who cause trouble. And that goes without saying. It says here, our fools make mock at sin. In the Hebrews is obscure. A little note that this Bible puts on into that. All in all, basic good common sense. These Proverbs, I really learn to love them as I read them. Proverbs is good-hearted, straightforward, common sense. It always, for me at least, is making me feel better. And it's so programming. There's nothing wrong with programming your mind. We program our minds every day. We look at YouTubes, we look at books, we look at TV, we look at movies. We're in a constant state of programming. And the Word of God is the best programmer in existence. It's coming from God Himself. The Word of God is the best programmer that we can put into our minds and hearts and our souls. So I hope you enjoyed this little reading here this morning on Proverbs 14. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And remember that we are amplifiers. We are resonators. This human condition of ours, what we seed in ourselves is what's going to grow. Not that this video ain't long enough, but I was watching some videos yesterday evening of there's quite a lot of talk about things about to be what we call the end times about to start because of this sun event that is taking place. And I probably watched, 7 or 8 videos of the spiritual aspect of it, and as well as the sun worshiping aspect of it. There's so many people getting fired up about this event that's fixing to take place. I've seen this thing come before many times. Well, they tell you, it happens only once every few hundred years. Well, the truth is we have quite a lot of solar eclipses. But this particular path involves Nineveh, yes, because the shadow is passing so many towns named Nineveh in our country. And a lot of people are seeing this as a sign of what's to come, and many people see that as a sign of doom and gloom, as the kickoff point of what we would consider to be the end times. And I had a lot of atrocious dreams, scary dreams about loud noises and coming out of the sky, very deep bass horns being blown, very frightful, with a given sense the need to get back home as I was on the road. And probably spiritually, we probably all need to get back home. We probably all need to get back to that garden. But what got me talking about these videos is it's programming. So we have to be careful what we program ourselves with. If all we program ourselves with is thoughts of end time and gloom and fear, and those seeds will grow and it'll become bigger in our lives than what's good for us. God gave us the Garden of Eden. He wanted us to be happy. He wanted us to be loving. He wanted us to be sharing forth in love and respect to all humankind and all spirit kind. And it's hopes that one day they'll all be the same. So with that being said, thank you for joining me in this little bit of programming today, Proverbs, and hopefully it'll make us have a better day than we would have without it. So with that being said, sorry for how long the video is, but I love you, and I will see you later. If my grandkids are watching this, I hope you guys are being kind to each other and having a good life. Pop loves you very much. Adios.